Hi, kids. It's Matthew, pastor of the New Church of Concord in Massachusetts, and I hope you're all doing very well. I apologize for not being able to send you one of these videos over the last couple weeks. 2 weeks ago, I ended up having a terrible, terrible stomach bug, and then last week I was in a town called Kempton in Pennsylvania for some clergy meetings. However, I am back in my office now, and this week I am looking forward to talking to you about something that we did in church last Sunday. This was something that was both very, very fun, but also very, very important. See, last Sunday, we began our service by asking a very, very simple question. We looked around our whole church and we asked ourselves the question, what is the most important thing in our church? Think about that for a minute. What is the most important thing in our church? I'm the pastor of the church, and I spend a lot of time in the church here, but we decided that I am definitely not the most important thing in this church. We looked at some of our beautiful stained glass windows, and as beautiful as they are, we decided that our stained glass windows are definitely not the most important thing in our church. We talked about things like our church pews where people sit, and our new sound system, and many other things that we decided were not the most important thing in our church. So what is the most important thing in our church? Well, one of the children on Sunday morning got the right answer. I believe it was actually Adam Sinisfet. So well done, Adam. Adam realized that by far the most important thing in our church is the Lord's Word. We have a copy of the Lord's Word, of course, that we keep in a very, very special place up on our chancel, on our altar. And every Sunday morning, as we begin our service of worship, we start by standing up and opening this beautiful copy of the Lord's Word. So, why is it that the Word is definitely the most important thing in our church? When you think about the Lord's church, and more than anything else, the Lord's church is here to help people learn about the Lord. The church is here to help people learn about the Lord's heavenly kingdom and what we need to do if we want to someday go to heaven. Now, the reason that the Lord's church can teach us about these things is because the Lord has given his church on earth the gift of his word. It is through his word and through his word alone that the Lord is able to teach people about himself and about his heavenly kingdom. And again, about the kind of life that we need to live if we want to someday go to heaven. So this is why it is easy to say that the word is definitely the most important thing in our church. Okay, does that make sense? Now, because the word is so important, we've decided to do something. We decided to go out and buy 60 brand new copies of the Lord's Word. And what did we do with these brand new copies of the Lord's Word? Well, last Sunday, as part of our worship service, we had all of the children place these brand new copies of the Lord's Word into our church pews. I have a picture here of where we actually put them so you can kind of picture it in your mind. You might remember that we have these little slots in front of each one of our pews where we usually keep our liturgies. Well, this is where all of the children last Sunday also took a copy or one of the copies of the new words and placed them next to these liturgies as well. So now our whole sanctuary is filled with these beautiful new copies of the Lord's Word. This is wonderful because what it means is that now whenever you come into the church, or whenever anybody comes into the church, these new copies of the Lord's Word will be a reminder of just how important the Lord's Word is to us. And now also, whenever anybody comes into our church, they will have the ability to sit down, pick up a copy of the Word, and read it. And in this way, they will be able to hear the Lord speaking to them directly. So I'm very, very excited that we decided to do this at our church. Now, in part, because we just did this, during the next couple weeks, I'm going to be using these videos to talk to you a little bit more about why the Lord's Word is so important to us. We'll talk more about why it's important for us to read the Word, for example, every day. We might talk a little bit about how the Lord teaches us that when we read the Word, we actually come into the company of angels. And we'll talk about other fun and very, very interesting things about the Lord's Word and why the Lord has given His church the gift of His Word. All right, so I hope you're doing well, that you're making time for the Lord in your life. And I look forward to talking to you over the next couple weeks a little bit more about the Word and why it absolutely is the most important thing in our church. All right, have a great week. Bye.